Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Ray Andrewsen, who is the Executive Director of the Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce. Sir!
It's good to be back.
Hi, buddy. How are you?
It's wonderful to be back here,
It's
Pete.
good to be back. What's new?
Well,
it's been a while.
Yeah, well, it has. I think last time was we did our show in darkness.
Yes.
It was December.
That's right.
So
it was dark.
Yeah. So here we are. We're getting into the spring and all those summer events and being along the shoreline, and it's just wonderful to come out here. I enjoy it. I mean, I just think the quality of light around Long Island Sound and where your studios are located here in Westbrook along Post Road is just a beautiful spot.
Absolutely. So
all right. Yes, I'm a Chamber of Commerce guy.
Yes, you're.
I'm just telling you.
You're the Executive Director of the Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce. Last time I checked.
That's right. Which has no direct waterfront, save for the Quinnipiac River.
No. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So what's going on with the Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce?
Well, since we last saw you, we've had a good start, a kickoff here to 2023.
Okay.
What was really interesting, Pete, is we're seeing a lot of people coming to live events, being in person. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know how that would pan out with some of our signature events and ticket sales, and whether people would want to come and meet and greet, be it business after hours, come out to Small Business Council lunches, and so on and so forth. People now want to be together. They like the idea of coming to an event, ticketed event in a safe environment. And now we're pretty much, 98% mask off. Some people elect to wear masks.
Correct.
But people feel now that the pandemic is not considered a global health emergency anymore, just something we live with and try to manage, that we've gotten that somewhat past, and although it still lurks. And people feel that they can come out again and be together, and it's really nice to see. Really,
it is. It is. So how long have you been with the Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce?
I've been there since March of 2021.
Okay.
Prior to that, for 15 months, I spent a tour of duty in our affiliate chamber, the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce, as a membership services director.
That's right.
Down there, and then was brought into the Quinnipiac Chamber, which serves Wallingford and North Haven, those two communities. But we have members from the shoreline, we have members from New Haven, we have members from around the state who are members of the Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce.
Really?
Yes.
Now, the New Haven Chamber of Commerce obviously doesn't cover New Haven, covers
15 towns that we play in the region. Yeah, it's a regional chamber, and if you think of the Hartford Business Alliance, which is a de facto chamber of commerce for Greater Hartford, it serves a region, it serves a metropolitan region, not just the big city, but the ring suburbs of Some people have the Havens, Long Island Sound. We have we have the Havens here. The Hamptons are over there.
Right, exactly.
So we'll just call them the Havens. So if you're vacationing this summer in the Havens, that's East Haven, North Haven, West Haven, and New Haven.
Right.
But beyond that, other communities as well. A regional chamber deals with the regional issues, as the Greater New Haven Chamber does, which is Tweed New Haven Airport expansion, include transportation issues, regional educational issues as it pertains to workforce development and training, working with community colleges, working with some of our other area colleges, state colleges, to create the 21st century workforce. So we're active in a lot of ways with the Greater New Haven Chamber. Our chamber, Quinnipiac Chamber, that is affiliated, serves our two communities, and we have some very exciting transformative, pivoted different events this year from events we've been doing in the past.
Okay, what do we got?
So I'll go backwards to go forward.
Okay.
Since we serve North Haven and Wallingford, we start the year with the Wallingford Mayor's Address in January. We held that this year over at Massonicare.
Okay.
And that's their first Massonicare, obviously, in Ashlar Village, a continuing care facility there. They did not want a lot of events there, as you can imagine, with an older population.
Absolutely.
So this was sort of their opportunity to come out and have Mayor Dickinson, who after 40 years is retiring as mayor after an incredibly long run since 1983 in Wallingford. Wow. So he gave the State of the Town address as mayor. Okay. Then the State of the Town address in North Haven with First Selectman Mike Frieda, which is always a very, very detailed, very good presentation he puts on business development around town. That was hosted by Quinnipiac University at their North Haven campus. And speaking of Quinnipiac, we pivoted from an event we did on our own to partner with Connecticut Manufacturer and CT to work with Quinnipiac University and put on our own manufacturing, engineering, and technology fair, which we hosted at the Quinnipiac campus, which had 92 booths from manufacturers, from engineering component and distributors, technology firms. It was really fascinating. Great opportunities to meet some people looking for work. And we boarded about probably 400 people to that event. So it was a very successful partnership with Quinnipiac University. We already have our date. Put it on the calendar. April 9th next year, we'll be doing it at Quinnipiac.
Okay.
Coming up, we have our annual business meeting that we do, June 14th at the Farms Country Club in Wallingford. So we will have our annual meeting and business awards. And we've got, speaking of Quinnipiac University, the theme is Quinnipiac here, with the Quinnipiac Chamber.
That's
Rand Pecknold, who is the head hockey coach from the national champion Bobcats, will be our keynote speaker receiving a special business leadership award. So it'll be great to hear what Rand says, taking this incredible Quinnipiac hockey program, which started in 1995 as a Division II, and he was part-time, earning, he even said transparently, $6,000 as a part-time coach. It was not his full-time job.
No.
And he brought it from a D2 program that played in a little tiny abandoned East Haven hockey rink over to Northford Ice Pavilion eventually. And then up to what was then TD Bank, now the M&T Bank Arena up on Rocky Top campus at Quinnipiac. They've been to 3 national finals. They lost their first 2, including one to Yale. And now
I remember that.
They won in that thriller in overtime, 10 seconds in, 3-2. So he'll be our keynote speaker on June 14th, Rand Pecknold. And everyone is welcome to come to this ticketed event to meet him and to see our awards and our silent auction we have going on that night. Our golf tournament, also at the Farms, on August 14th. We had 140 golfers last year. It's one of Connecticut's premier golf events. So write that down for golfers on Monday, the 14th of August. And then we're doing something different again. We used to do a business showcase, a tabletop showcase for many years in an indoor facility. This year, partnering with the town of North Haven and working on North Haven, we are celebrating North Haven. So we have taken an indoor business showcase and turned it into the North Haven Festival and Business Expo. And that'll be Saturday, September 23rd on the North Haven Green. And it will be 11 to 4. It's free to the public. Come on by. We're going to have food. We're going to have music, entertainment. We're going to have crafters that are going to be there. We'll have antique cars. You can also see in the center of North Haven, on the historic North Haven Green, where this will be taking place, are dozens and dozens of business booths that will be there. We have lots of great sponsorship. Our premier sponsor is Sims Metal Management this year in North Haven has stepped up. Done a wonderful work with them and supporting this event and other sponsors as well. And what's great about this event, September 23rd, is it's the first one. And First Selectman Mike Frieda and the team in North Haven that are putting this together, and including Walter Mann, who is the chair of the Economic Development Commission in North Haven. Also very involved with NHTV.
That's right.
Our other TV facility in Washington Avenue in North Haven. We're expecting hundreds of people to show up. We're expecting a great day of family fun and entertainment, but a great opportunity for businesses to get in front of this crowd of people. It's a celebration of things that are in North Haven. And we really needed this. I think Wallingford has its own event, Celebrate Wallingford. Meriden has the Daffodil Festival. Cheshire has their Fall Festival. Hamden has Hamden Fest every early June. Brantford has a festival every summer. The shoreline communities, other places do. It's time for North Haven to have one. So we're very proud to be able to establish this in year 1.
How is our friend Mike Frieda?
He's doing well.
Is he?
Yes, he is. He's a kind, compassionate leader. I mean, I don't know too many people who don't like Mike Frieda.
No. I like Mike Frieda.
I like Mike Frieda too. You know, and it's interesting. I think if Mike had his choice, he would start, even at this stage of his life, his professional baseball career. He's still, he still works out. He's still very active physically, and he loves baseball. So it's nice to have somebody who uses sports, I think, to help in his leadership vision, and I think that's what we like about Mike.
Absolutely, he's a great guy.
Yeah,
absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the Chamber of Commerce and maybe what types of services you guys offer for the business community.
Well, we mentioned all that. One major event I failed to mention is we're going to have the first week in November, which is our Women's Achievement Award. We honor 6 area women as well. And then, of course, December we pivot to our downtown decorating in Wallingford and North Haven. We honor all the businesses who decorate for the holidays, give them little gifts. It's kind of fun. But our services are leads groups, getting to know other businesses, stating your case, taking care of your needs. We also have the Small Business Council lunches I mentioned every month. We go to a local restaurant. We support the restaurant.
Absolutely.
And for a prefix menu, really great food, you hear a good speaker. So on May 18th, for example, it's very close to when we're here in our studio recording this tonight, Jackie Downing, who is our strategic coordinator, if you will, with the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven and oversees the Great Give. She will be talking about what you do, Pete, and you've done for many years in your life, what I've been doing for many years too, getting involved with boards of directors and volunteerism.
There you go. And
seeing community as expanding your business base and network. And one of the things that I'm struck by is sometimes people think, I hear the 5 o'clock whistle, it's 6 o'clock, done.
No.
My day is over. It's not work to be civically engaged. It's about finding other friendships. I've made friends serving on boards of directors, got to know people. You've done that. And also volunteerism for your company. It's great branding. And a lot of the companies who get their employees engaged, or small businesses that 5, 10, 15 people, that maybe they want to do a walk together for a certain cause, whether it's autism, whether it's Alzheimer's. If you're engaged as a team in doing team building that way, people want your brand. They want to come to your restaurant if you do something like that. They want to come to your clothing shop. They want to come to your hardware store. They want to come and support your tech company. So the argument with the Small Business Council on May 18th we'll have at the Greater New Haven Chamber office downtown to register online for that is to talk about how easy it is to be engaged with nonprofits. So it's the kind of service that we do. Quincham, QUINNCHAM.com, Quinnipiac Chamber, Quincham. Sounds odd to say that.
Exactly.
But you can register right online to our events. And I'd like to talk about more of them. We have a lot of other services too.
Well, you know what? We'll talk about more of them coming back. Would you mind sticking around for another segment?
I'm going to be here.
And me too. We'll be right back.
Scientist, I know by the time she takes her first breath, 9 billion more tons of carbon pollution will be in the air. When she takes her first steps, wildfires will have burned millions more acres she could have explored. By the time a child born today goes to college, it may be too late to leave them the world we promised. Our window to act on climate change is like watching them grow up. We blink and we miss it.
Better Business Bureau is warning consumers about a used car scam. The scammer pretends to be a woman who's lost her husband, and it says she's trying to get rid of his car. The scammer claims they'll put your money in escrow for 5 days, so if you don't like the car, you can get your money back. But BBB's investigation has uncovered that the escrow or logistics firm the scammer is using isn't legit. Many of these websites lead back to a virtual office in Hartford. Never wire funds for an online purchase, and always make sure you can see the car in person before you buy.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Ray Andrewsen from the Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back, sir.
Good to be here.
Thanks for sticking around. Where else would you want to go?
That's right. Well, there's no place to go.
Exactly.
But here. Where would you rather be but here?
Exactly. So, with your role as executive director at the Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce and the time you've been executive director, what are some things you've learned?
Well, it's a great question. It's interesting, and I've been in commercial radio for many years in my career, as you know, and you've interviewed me back in those days. And I started actually early in my life with commercial residential real estate, which I have a lot of admiration for people who sell real estate as you know, a business. It's generally a straight commission job. So, and I've worked in other small shops.
Yep.
But I didn't quite, and I could say this very transparently, I didn't quite have the appreciation and respect that I have now come to understand.
Okay.
The courage, the determination, the sweat,
Yep.
the building, the struggles, the nerves, everything that goes into being a franchisee, to establishing as an entrepreneur a startup business, to operating a small business with staffing, to take care of all the financial aspects of it, to make sure that you have your business taxes and your planning all settled, to make sure that you're following state laws and regulations, to make sure that your inventory is up to date, that if you have a restaurant or even a business that gets inspected by various agencies, that you're up to code for health.
Oh, yeah.
we could go on. You've had businesses in your family, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
know how difficult it is.
Oh, yeah.
And I think when people get in the environment of the Chamber of Commerce and they see these small businesses and even mid-sized businesses, you'll understand a sort of a business outlook better. Because if you've been an employee or you've been working in other areas that are not profit oriented
Right.
necessarily, you would probably not understand the continuing stress that goes along with operating that
Right.
business. So what I've learned and what I've developed is a great appreciation for people who establish a business, and we've seen them grow,
Right.
and they take off. It gives me a great deal of pleasure to see someone with a creative idea or working and toiling those hours. I think I've learned that. I've also learned something that's also quite interesting too, and that is small business does create jobs.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the backbone of our economy. And so do the large businesses, no question about that. But I'll take the Ulbrich Stainless Steels company in Wallingford as a great example.
Okay.
They're going to have their 100-year anniversary next year, 1924. German immigrant Frederick Ulbrich came here and started a scrap metal business in Wallingford. Very humbly, small business, basically 1 or 2, 3 person operation.
Oh, wow.
It has now blossomed into a multi-billion-dollar company with 7 locations around the globe, including the home base, the corporate office in North Haven, and warehouse in North Haven facilities, but also the manufacturer is in Wallingford, nearby. And the Ulbrich name is everywhere with philanthropy. You see it all around the central Connecticut area. The Boys and Girls Club that they established, which merged with New Haven's, the Wallingford Public Library, you see it at Playscapes, part of the pool over at the Wallingford YMCA. Very community-spirited family. And what I appreciate is that their business has blossomed over 100 years and grown. They have about a 1% turnover rate in their employee base. And why do I say that's significant? They treat their employees very well. They see them as investments. They don't see the people who come in there as churn.
Right.
They want them to stay. They're investing in their families. They're investing in their well-being. And as a result, people love to go to work for the Ulbrich company. If you have a humble origin in 1924 and 100 years later, you can claim that story.
Right.
How could you not be inspired by a company that grows from such humble origins to be an international organization 100 years later that gives back to its community? And many other people do that in ways that are big and small. So when you see a small business established and you have maybe 5, 6, 10 employees and they're just getting going in year 1 or 2, who knows where they'll be in 100 years?
Exactly. Wow. You're right.
I didn't expect to be this profound tonight.
No, I know. I know. It's like
usually you and I are sort of doing our Henny Youngman routine, but it's just I think tonight I'm in awe of people and have a lot of respect for them.
right.
And I've learned a lot. Garrett Sheehan is our president and CEO at both chambers.
Sure.
For the Greater New Haven Chamber and also our Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce. And Garrett has a television background. He was a television news anchor at one time in his career. And he also has a law degree.
Really?
Very much so. Yeah. And he's worked at other chambers of commerce. And he's worked in corporate world, and he's been our chamber president and CEO for 6 years now. And one thing I have learned from him, honestly, is that you can combine social progress and vision and understand and incorporate with our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts that have been very strong. Our HR, healthcare, life sciences for wellness, and investing in the biotech sector and the hospitals and everything that makes us better and healthier.
Right.
And still have very much an awareness of supporting sound business and sound business practices and growth.
Right.
So it's a great combination. The new chambers of commerce are about strong communities.
Right.
They're about strong state infrastructure. They're about social equity and social emergence. Historically underrepresented populations are supported by chambers now. It's not just about deregulation, cut taxes, keep government out of my backyard and out of my life kind of thing. Chambers of commerce now have evolved in seeing a larger and wider picture. So it's kind of an exhilarating time to be involved with the Chamber of Commerce.
And how did the Chamber of Commerce survive the pandemic?
Well, another good question. Got some good questions.
You like that, huh?
Yeah. How did we survive? Well, I'll be transparent. Everybody didn't know what they were doing. And I still remember 2 dates. So I started January 6th, which is taking on another historical connotation, I guess.
Yes.
But I started at Quinnipiac University on January 6th in 1997.
Right.
I had to start at the Chamber of Commerce in New Haven January 6th, 2020, or 2020
Yes, you did.
in hindsight. So started 2 months in, I was really starting to understand my role at the Chamber in New Haven. And then March 13th on a Friday, we looked at each other, our staff downtown, we said, well, see you in a week or two.
Yeah,
we
right.
thought with COVID, we were just going to go home for a couple of weeks and then come back.
Right.
We were naive to think this wouldn't be transformative. It would just be something we had to survive for a couple of days. Count would go up, the count would go down. Months later, a tremendous change. And I think what we learned, because people were very uncertain about convening, we had no events. We had to pivot and be online.
Yeah, everything was virtual.
We had to do webinars. We had to be doing this. We had to be doing podcasts we do now at Quinnipiac Chamber. We had to develop content. We weren't getting together unless it was mask on.
Right.
People didn't want to get out and come to these events. They were quarantined in their homes or working remotely. We had PPP money. We had federal relief funds. We had a lot of business struggles. 43% of black-owned businesses in New Haven failed during the pandemic, just to show you the fragility of what small business is like. Now, a lot of businesses fail anyway.
Right.
That's just the nature of the risk of small business. But with no money, with no steady stream of cash and cash flow in a marketplace, a lot of businesses struggled.
Right.
We eventually righted our ship in 2021 and 2022. We're slowly, with fits and starts, coming back. We're learning this. People do want to be together.
Right.
But people do want to be educated, and they do want to be working in a flexible manner now. So they like sort of a hybrid approach of working maybe, if I have to, in my schedule at home for half a day.
Right.
Technology is allowing us to do that. We're going to have a webinar on May 31st with the Greater New Haven Chamber of Commerce, and I'll be hosting that webinar on AI, artificial intelligence, and the tremendous changes that are afoot. And we have an expert a guest panel that will be talking about these changes.
Okay.
We are embarking on a new era, and we really, in some cases, don't know where we're going.
Right.
And to answer your question, I think in 2020, before the pandemic, we didn't really know where we were going.
Exactly.
We thought we did.
Yeah.
But things changed and transformed. They always do in business, capitalism and creativity. And I think we learned that we can survive something like that we can be transformed by it. And you know something? We learned Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
We learned what it's like to do remote work.
Right.
We learned about flexible staffing patterns.
Right.
And I think as a result of that, we got through that with greater knowledge, despite all the tragedy and the pain that accompanied COVID.
Absolutely. I remember one of the first interviews I did when I did my show remotely. You were in your kitchen. I was in my kitchen.
That's right.
We just hung out for a half hour.
That's right. Well, you saw the nutty pine. I still have my kitchen.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I probably should have it. I like Ike, banner
Yeah.
somewhere behind there. I mean, we like our old farmhouse. It's quaint, but
Exactly.
it was nice to do that. But I'll be the first to tell you this. Television is great. We love to see information like this. Television, radio.
Right.
We need content and creation like
Right.
this. This is community as well.
Oh, absolutely.
You're creating it online that people can access, but we like to be together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what else has the Chamber of Commerce got coming up that we can talk about?
Well, I think I gave you an overview of the major and some of the micro events too.
Okay.
I always have a phrase, Pete, that I talk about, and that is, tell me your bad news. I want your bad news.
Okay.
Because I like to make good news.
All right.
I like to hear challenges. I like to hear what businesses are struggling with, whether it's their marketing, whether it's HR issues, whether it's utility rates, whether it's healthcare access. Tell us what your problems are. We're problem solvers at the Chamber. We're directors of information. So, I don't want to hear everything is wonderful.
Yeah, right.
I want to hear things aren't so wonderful.
Exactly.
And let us help you out. And I would encourage people to see the Chamber as a resource because we have our public policy arm in Hartford and Washington. We advocate, even go to bat for organizations on the local level. We have a very strong economic development coordinated. In fact, tomorrow morning I'll be at one of the meetings. So that's something that we all have to consider. And, I think, frankly, there's a lot to do at the Chamber. I mean, we're always busy trying to work with people one-on-one. It gives me great joy.
Absolutely. We got a little bit more time left, but before we say goodnight, website for the Chamber one more time.
Sure, it's Quincham because somebody didn't want to spell it all out. They got lazy.
Yeah.
Quinn, as in Anthony Quinn.
Right.
Okay. Cham, CHAM as in Cham.
Right.
So quincham.com is our website.
Okay.
And if you, just Google.
Everything's on there.
Put on Bing, which has an AI component, or Chat T component. Just get on.
Get on the world.
Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce. There it comes.
Cool.
You can do that.
Ray Andrewsen from the Quinnipiac Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for some time.
Good to be back, Pete.
See you soon.
All right.
You got it. On behalf of Ray Andrewsen, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night. We'll see you next time.